Hello guys and welcome to the status report highlight for the 29th of July, 2015. And for this week's status report, lead producer Brian Hicks will be informing us on what the team has been working on for the upcoming update on Stable Branch. In this regard, he'll go over subjects such as the loot distribution and persistence. The team has been crunching away on our last blockers for stable release, as well as working on values for loot distribution. Tomorrow morning we should see our hopeful final experimental release hit Steam, which will be tested over the weekend. Assuming we notice no new issues, we're hoping to hit Stable Branch on Monday or Tuesday next week. The only issue we currently see as a blocker on Experimental 058 is visually represented as floating loot, currently caused by an issue with items that have been swapped by players, most commonly seen as loot floating above deer stands, police stations, etc. As mentioned above, tomorrow should see an experimental push that will see this resolved, and this build will be tested over the weekend to see its viability for Stable Branch. While this fix has been underway, we've been dialing in the balance for non-perishable food, firearm and military loot. Currently, the highest quantity and priority in the economy is given to non-perishable food goods, tuna, beans, rice, etc., with civilian pistols being the most common firearm, followed by civilian rifles such as the Trumpet, Blaze, IZH-43 shotgun, and so on. Military loot is distributed across all military points across the map, most of which are up in the northern areas. Military-grade firearms are relatively rare, and there is no guarantee that visiting the military bases will yield you a weapon you want. With most items on the 30-minute timer, without being refreshed by being manipulated by players, getting fully kitted up as a military player with all the gear you want could take some time. Super rare items like the M4A1, Steyr AUG, SVD and so on that spawn on dynamic events operate on an even rarer chance. Dynamic events have a varied pool of potential items that can spawn, with only 3 active helicopter wrecks at any given time, and an approximate 4-hour cleanup. Continued hunting will be required to find that super rare weapon or item you are seeking. Please keep in mind, we are now fully able to update quantities and rarity without requiring an update. So if we should see issues with loot concentration or quantity when 058 hits Stable Branch, we will be able to address this rapidly. Fortunately, players can now create camps and store their supplies and weapons at them during the trek across Chernarus. Different containers and objects have different lifetimes. Currently, they operate as follows. Medium tent pitched, 45 days. Military tent pitched, 45 days. Car tent pitched, 45 days. Barrels, 45 days. Ammo boxes, 45 days. Protector cases, 45 days. Backpacks, all types, 3 days. Current functionality on Experimental does not allow to refresh the lifetime of an object without picking it up. So tents and barrels were set to a lifetime that will cover the time to 059, plus some safety room in case of 059 stable blockers. So this basically means, survivors, if you leave your tent down for at least 45 days, it will disappear, unless you pick it back up and repitch the tent, resetting that 45-day lifetime. Once 059 is pushed to stable, we will support the refresh of a base object's lifetime via interacting with it, moving, placing, picking up any item inside it, which will operate as follows. Military tent pitched, 7 days. Car tent pitched, 7 days. Barrels, 7 days. Ammo boxes, 7 days. Protected cases, 7 days. Backpacks all types, 3 days. So it looks like when 059 has been pushed to stable, the lifetime of your camp will be pushed from 45 days down to 7 days, meaning you'll have to be extra careful you don't lose all your gear. This system will also allow for the refreshing of advanced base building objects once they are implemented. Speaking of advanced base building, Hicks will be speaking at RTX 2015 in Austin, Texas on Saturday, August 8th at 5:30 p.m. to discuss a recap of things covered at E3 2015. What we'd like to do with advanced base building, what soft skills means exactly, and show the new vehicles coming in 059. For those unable to make it, we'll be providing the presentation plus audio in the status report following the event on Wednesday, August 12th. Obviously, I'll cover that status report for you guys as well so you don't miss it. That's all for this week's status report highlight. As always, I recommend you read the status report in full for yourselves for the most amount of information that it holds. All links will be in the description, as well as for DayZ TV for your latest DayZ news and information. And I'll see you peeps next time.
Careful, you could hurt somebody. Oh, I'm sorry. Just reactions.